Thanksgiving at the Wisman family homestead had always been a large, lively affair, but this year carried a different kind of sparkle, something almost electric. The crisp November air drifted across the Nebraska countryside, carrying the scent of cinnamon rolls cooling on window ledges and wood smoke curling from the chimneys. Indoors, the house hummed with soft music, clinking dishes, children's laughter, and a warm glow that made even the corners feel alive. Jana stood near the kitchen hearth, hands wrapped around a mug of spiced apple cider. She loved this season. The warmth, the gratitude, the way families seemed to lean just a little closer together. And this year, she was leaning closer too, to her husband, Stephen. They had been married for a little over a year, but each holiday still felt like a first. A first shared table, a first combined tradition, a first chance to watch their families blend into a single, louder, happier chorus. Stephen found her in the middle of the bustle, slipping his hand into hers with the ease of someone who had been doing it forever. "You okay?" he asked, leaning in with a smile that brushed gently across his eyes. "Perfect," she replied, her voice soft. "It all feels special this year." And it did, though she couldn't quite put her finger on why. Across the room, Jana's sisters watched her with narrowed eyes, the kind of curious, mischievous glances only siblings could share without using a single word. They whispered, nudged, giggled, then pretended to be looking somewhere else entirely whenever she glanced her way. Something in their gaze hinted at a question, one Jana had already overheard twice that day. Is Jana glowing, or is it just the firelight? Is she hiding something, or just happy? The online world, of course, was even louder. Photos from the morning Thanksgiving service had made their rounds in fan groups within hours. Comment sections buzzed with speculation, silly theories, and playful debates. Some insisted Jana and Stephen looked extra happy, while others jokingly wondered whether the couple was preparing for baby news, twins, or simply enjoying too much pumpkin pie. Of course, no one actually knew anything, but that had never stopped holiday imagination. Inside the kitchen, Jana simply smiled to herself. She knew the whispers were harmless. People love stories, especially stories wrapped in warmth, family, and possibility. And she couldn't blame them. She loved stories too. The dinner that sparked it all. By late afternoon, the dining room table looked like something out of a storybook. A quilted runner, white candles glowing softly in brass holders, a sprat of roasted turkey, herb stuffing, cranberry compote, sweet potatoes crowned with toasted marshmallows, and pies. So many pies that the sideboard could barely hold them. The elders gathered at the far end of the table, the young adults in the center, the littles scattered wherever they could be persuaded to stay seated. Jana slipped into her chair beside Stephen, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Stephen squeezed her knee gently under the table. She shot him a look. "What?" she whispered. "You're smiling at everything." "That's not a crime." "No," he murmured, raising a playful eyebrow, "but you're smiling at the butter dish." She laughed, nudging him with her elbow. "Maybe I'm just grateful." "A good reason," he said, lifting her hand beneath the table and giving it a quiet squeeze. The moment was tender, so tender in fact that Jana's sister-in-law across the table nearly dropped her fork. The family saw it, the camera saw it, the internet definitely saw it, and that was enough fuel to keep speculation burning long into the night. A walk in the firelight. After dinner, the family spilled outside to watch the younger cousins light sparklers in the fading dusk. The air was chilly, but Jana didn't mind. She pulled a knit shawl around her shoulders and walked slowly along the path behind the house, the prairie grass bowing gently in the breeze. Stephen slipped beside her. "This was a good day," he said. "It was perfect." They walked in silence for a moment, listening to the far-off sound of laughter and the popping of sparklers. "You know," Stephen said lightly, "your family thinks you're hiding something." She raised a brow. "Do they?" "Mm-hmm. Someone asked me if we're preparing to announce twins." Jana nearly choked on her breath. "Twins? Why twins?" "I don't know. I think someone saw you take a second dinner roll."
She burst into laughter and he joined her. "Well," she said, still laughing, "Thanksgiving is the only day I get a free pass." "And I'll protect your right to every dinner roll," Stephen replied gallantly. Their laughter softened, fading into a comfortable hush. The breeze tugged at her hair, and she tucked it behind her ear again.
"And what do you think they're seeing?" she asked. Stephen studied her quietly, warm eyes glowing in the dim light. "Joy," he said finally. She felt her breath catch, not because of speculation or gossip or whispered questions, but because he said it with such sincerity. "And," he added softly, "I think joy looks good on you." She turned away, not trusting herself to speak right away. Joy. Yes, that was it. Not a secret, not a story, just joy. The joy of building a home with the man beside her. The joy of new traditions, shared prayers, inside jokes. The joy of becoming part of a larger mosaic of family. The joy of the simple, breathtaking ordinary. The photo that broke the internet again. Before going inside, one of the cousins ran over with the phone, breathless. "Picture, picture, before the pies." Jana and Stephen slipped an arm around each other, leaning close as the camera clicked. That single photo would later explode across fan pages. Jana glowing in the lantern light, Stephen smiling softly, their hands almost, but not quite, resting atop each other at her midsection. A coincidence, nothing more. But online, the theories practically wrote themselves. A night of gratitude. Later, when the last pie was eaten and the house settled into a warm, drowsy quiet, Jana sat beside Stephen on the sofa, legs tucked under her, head against his shoulder. "Do you ever wish people wouldn't speculate so much?" he asked gently. Jana thought for a long moment. "No," she said at last. "People imagine good things because they want good things for us, and that's a blessing." He wrapped his arm around her. "A blessing," he repeated. And together they watched the last embers glowing in the fireplace, tiny sparks dancing upward, like little wishes rising into the night. None of the whispers mattered, none of the theories meant anything, because this Thanksgiving, the real story was simple. Joy, love, family, gratitude. And those, Jana realized, were more than enough.